Well, greetings from RVR. My name is John Bissett. I'm the director here at RVR, and I'm here with my dear friend Antoinette. For those of you that aren't familiar with Antoinette, we've become good friends over the last couple of years, and how we became friends wouldn't have been how we would have chosen, but it's what God did, and we wanted to give you a little update on how she's doing. Antoinette actually is the mother of Justin Diggs, who came here for camp a couple of years ago. And for reasons that we'll never quite understand, God took him home after a freak storm came through here on July the 8th. And since then, we have built a very unique relationship. And a lot of you ask, how is Antoinette doing? How is she doing? And she's certainly been on our hearts all the time, but I know many of you have wondered as well. So I thought instead of just answering that, we'd bring her in and let her answer for herself. How's she doing? So let me start, Antoinette, by asking you this. I know a lot of people ask you, how are you doing? What do you say to people that say that to you now, after 2 years?
Actually, I say I'm doing well. And it's hard to say exactly how I'm doing because it changes from day to day. So, for the most part, I'm doing very well because, I have a lot of prayers and people are always keeping me in their prayers. Over 2 years, I'm still getting phone calls, text messages, people asking me how I'm doing. And actually, that even makes me feel better because it makes me feel like Justin is never forgotten.
Yeah, that's a real blessing to have God sends people to encourage us through hard times, so that's good to hear. I'm sure you think about Justin on a regular basis. When you think of Justin now, what are the memories that come back? The ones that are very positive and really make you think fondly of him. What are the things that kind of recur in your mind?
Well, I think every memory is a good memory. Every last one of them. And I think about the memories of, actually driving up here, thinking about the first time I drove up here to bring him to camp. And was like, oh man, Justin, you're going to have a great time, And I think about memories of the stuff that we would do, or songs I'd hear on the radio, or new songs that are coming out now. I'm like, oh, Justin would like this song. Or I speak of him every day. And I think that's what makes it easier for me to move on. So I'm not afraid to speak of him. I'm not afraid to hear people speak of him to me, because I think some people shy away because they're not sure how I will respond.
So do you like it when people ask you how he's doing?
I love
how
it.
you're doing?
I love it.
Okay, so
I love it. And let me tell you one thing I really love. People who are not afraid. I have one person that I came across, and she said, Happy Mother's Day. Some people, I think, would be afraid to say that, So, and to me, it was just mind-blowing that she was just okay with that, and she said it freely, like, he's still here, Or she still recognizes that I'm still a mom, even though my son is not here with us.
That's really encouraging. How do you deal with some of the more difficult moments? I'm sure you've mentioned to me before that this journey is a bit of a roller coaster, and some days most days you're doing okay, but other days are harder.
Yep.
How do you deal with those harder moments?
The harder moments recently, how I've been dealing with them is, since Justin is very, very close to me where I live, I go and talk to him. And I visit with him, and I discuss everything. Oh, mommy's going through this, and da-da-da-da. So I'm constantly going back to talk to him. When I feel down, I go visit him. And I actually just sit there and just pour out everything that's going on, So that's what helps me through, that he's close. So it's a good thing that I have him close to me and I can just pop in and talk to him whenever I feel.
That's great. Now, I know you told me that Justin was a very adventurous kid. He loved being outside. He loved taking risks. He would even push you. Come on, Mom, let's do this or that. looking back here, what have you done the last 2 years that you would say wasn't something maybe that you would normally do, but that you feel like that would have made Justin very proud, doing something that was a little out of my comfort zone? Anything you can think of like that?
I want to say that I give more to the homeless people. Because, you see people on the street, and for us adults, we think that the people on the street are not always true. And you think that if you give them money, they're going to use it for something not good. And Justin used to always say, "Mommy, how come you don't help out the homeless people?" So I've been doing more, and whether they're going to do bad with the money or not, I give it in honor of him. So he's made my heart a little kinder, and I think in his mind, because children are so innocent and they don't see the bad in people, so that would make him smile. Because I would never give before, and now I'm doing something that I've never done in honor of him.
That's wonderful. I know you had said to me before too that doing things like this, public speaking, being vulnerable, is something that you had a harder time with, but because of this situation, you had a lot of attention and continue to have people give you attention, and you have a voice now, and you can say things to people. And I know you've said that is something that, boy, he'd be super proud of, seeing his mom doing that now, right?
Yeah, definitely. Well, I always speak my mind, and I don't hold back, and I'm going to give you the truth, whether you like it or not. And I'm very frank, and that's what your sister always likes about me. And I think that's why the friends that I have and the people that I've come across, they notice that I'm very real and very down to earth, because I don't try to portray to be no one else but me. I don't put up a facade. Oh, I got to be this way around this person. I'm this way all the time. So, and I think that's what makes people gravitate to me, because they know what they see is what they get, and it's going to be real.
Absolutely. I know I've seen that. And I know we were just talking here before about how you're a very strong woman, one of the strongest women I know, honestly. And a lot of times I think for people that see you, they see this strong woman that isn't emotional and can handle a lot of difficult circumstances. But I know that that's not always true. I know in more private moments that you're emotional, and of course, here today. What's your response to people that kind of maybe see you as someone who has it all together, who's really strong in this? How do you respond to that?
Well, that's a gift and a curse, because some people say, "Oh, she's so strong, but then others is like, she's not showing any emotion. Even my family, she's not showing any emotion. Don't she miss her son? Well, oh my gosh, how did she deal with this?" But when you cry, you get ugly. And it's not pretty. But sometimes I keep the emotions in, because I come from a very small family, and sometimes I only have me to depend on. So I got to be strong and I got to give a good representation to my son, and to let him know, no, you got to be strong, And during this time, it was tough. I think that I'm being strong, and then I go and I'm just this little weakling behind closed doors. So people think they see this strong person, and I know people say, "Oh, when she goes behind closed doors, she lets it all loose," So I'm strong to a certain extent, but I'm human. And yes, I miss my son every day. So and I fall weak to that. And it's very emotional for me to talk about certain things. Sometimes I'm just in the car and I just sit there thinking in tears, you know. So I am emotional. My son was emotional. So sometimes I'm willing to share it with people and be vulnerable. And I'm learning to do that more. So to let people know that I'm human.
I think that's one of your greatest qualities, Antoinette, is like you said, you're real, you're who you are, you're human, but you have strength in the middle of all of that. And I think that's very inspiring to many people. I know from the very beginning, the very first times we even talked together, you had said your hope was that in the midst of this tragedy, that something positive could come out of this, that there would be positive things. And we've seen many, many positive things. What have you seen that gives you some peace to feel like, you know, even though this was a terrible thing, God's used it in a positive way?
Well, first, God has changed me, you know, so He has made me a more kinder heart person, more and more giving spirit, and more in tune with other people's feelings. You know, for people who, that's a tough question. But first of all, it started with me because there's a lot of the hardness in me and the strength that you see, that because I built up this shell and this wall is so hard, but now everybody's soft and gooey on the inside. So that's one thing that's changed, and it's for the positive because I've become a better person because of it. My faith in God is so strong because if it wasn't for my faith in God, I would not be here doing this video with you right now. I'll be in somebody's insane, crazy place. So He keeps me strong, and I think He's prepared me. And also the way that this situation happened, I got a chance to tell my son I love him one more time. So most people, when they lose a loved one, it's instant. Although it was instant, but I was able to say I love you one more time. Most people, it's just like, you know, if it's a car accident or something, because you get up and you go every day and you don't realize how every day is precious. You don't realize that until you lose something just out of the blue, you know. So every day, you know, you need to you know, really don't take for granted. Don't take any day for granted because we're not guaranteed tomorrow.
And speaking of that, you know, there are people that lose loved ones every day, or some people who lose children every day. I know a lot of people who maybe are in that circumstance would look to you and say, what would you say to someone who's recently lost someone very close to them, or even a child? What advice would you give them, or what word would you give them to encourage them right now?
Prayer. And it's so hard to answer that question because every situation is different, but a death is a death, whether it's a child, it was your son, it was your daughter, it was your mom, your dad, your sister. Any death that's close to you that you know, even that's not close to you. Look at this. Justin has affected so many people around the world. So I don't know if I'm the right person to give advice, but because I handled my situation so differently, maybe some people were very out with it. They just emotional wrecked the whole time. And I think I was just trying to keep it together because it was highly publicized, you know. So, and I just was trying to keep it together. And all I can say is you just make God first and keep prayer in your heart. And that will help you get you through.
One day at a time, right?
Yep, one day at a time.
So what can people do to encourage you now? If somebody out there, maybe they will meet you, or maybe they wouldn't meet you, but what would be encouraging to you now for people to do for you? Is there anything you can think of?
You know what? The best thing is that I'm getting is just people always saying they're keeping me in prayer, because prayer works. I don't know this going on, but people are praying for me, uplifting me every day, and I think that's what's keeping me going, along with my faith. That's what's keeping me going. People just constantly praying for me to be strong, because sometimes they say as the years go on, it's not always going to get easier. They say, oh, it'll get easier, it'll get easier. Sometimes I fall back. You know, the first year I think I did pretty good. The second year I fell back. Just the last couple of weeks, I fell back. Just driving up here, I fell back. So sometimes it's a constant back and forth in how you're feeling, you know. Justin was all I had, you know. So now it's just me. So now all I have is just his great memories, you know, and his spirit that lives in me, that makes me happy.
It's wonderful. I know something else that we've said very early on is, you know, we're never going to forget Justin. We're never going to forget you. We're never going to forget Justin. So we've tried to do some things here, some permanent things that we can put here so that will happen. And of course, we put Justin's bench up at Fort Roller, a beautiful little garden and a bench to remember him. We have another project that we're looking at doing in Justin's honor. And before introducing that, I want to tell a little story. Maybe you could add something to it.
Okay.
When Justin was here for one of his weeks of camp, so we have free time where you can call your parents. And of course, every parent wants their child to call them during that free time, and there are other things that they can do. But this one afternoon, Justin was supposed to call you and didn't call you. And you found out later the reason he didn't call you was because one of his friends that he met at camp had asked him, would you help me learn how to play basketball? So he spent his entire free time helping this kid learn how to play basketball up at this small little court that we have up at Fort Roller. And that just speaks to who Justin was, just such a giving and other-focused kid, that we wanted to somehow encapsulate that with something up there. So we are actually going to be building what we're calling Justin's Court. It's the same location as where the other court is currently, and we want to make it a little bit bigger, a full court, so more kids could fit on there. And I know he spent a lot of time on that basketball court. And our hope is that that can be something that can honor him, and that he can look down, smile, and say, you know, look at all those kids who are now benefiting from this this new court up at Fort Roller. So if you want to get involved with that, we would love for you to make a donation of some kind to make it happen. Our plan is to have it done by next summer, have a little groundbreaking or something up there. But you'll have more information on how you can do that. But anything else that you want to say or let people know about you, or final words?
Justin was an outside boy. He would love this court. He loved to be outside. He loved to play basketball. And actually, he was begging me, you know, kids always want to do a sport. I want to do karate. I want to do this. I want to play football. And you put all your money into these sports, and then halfway through, I don't want to do this anymore. And he kept asking about being on a league for basketball. And I kept putting it, no, I'm not spending the money. I'm not spending the money. And I'm so glad that I was able to get him in. He was able to live that dream of playing basketball for a team at a rec center. And it was the best thing ever. He really enjoyed playing basketball. So I'm glad that I let him go ahead, and I put the money out to do that. This is one thing that he really loved and he wanted to stick with. So this basketball court that's going up, he will be smiling.
That's awesome. Well, just the last appeal, as you heard from Antoinette, something that she would really appreciate would be prayer. So I would just encourage all of you today, just say a prayer for Antoinette. Keep her in your prayers. God's not done with you yet. I know that. There are many more opportunities for you to be a blessing to other people as you have for these last 2 years. And we're going to keep praying for that for you.
Thank you.
So.
Thank you, everyone.